everyone, to Campus Lore Live. I am George Niang, and this is my fellow college teammate, Monte Morris. Last week, we touched over a ton of topics, had a lot of fun, but yet, Monte, we're still quarantined. We're still sitting here.
Yeah.
We're still trying to figure this thing out. How you surviving, my man?
Man, I'm feeling good, man. Just trying to stay consistent with my workouts every day, get some cardio in, and try to get some court work in, with my guy, Keon, when I get a chance.
Besides working out, I've stumbled across, a couple college basketball games, and, obviously it brings me back to the days when we were playing, and, man, I was rolling up on TV watching Kentucky play Louisville at home, and it just made me think of, some of the toughest places to play in college basketball. And not only do you not get the passionate fans that are, diehard and sitting outside for 21 hours in the NBA, and it just made me think back to, Hilton, which is why I'm wearing my shirt right here, Hilton Magic, and some of the toughest places that we played. What was I know what my toughest place to play at, and I think I have a funny story to go along with it. What was yours?
At Kansas, I think it just took like everything, that you had down the line for guys that wasn't even playing, just the guys on the bench that was supporting the guys that was in the game in that environment, because you really went down there. You would always say a thing when we lead a huddle, this all we got. It's just us, because they was giving all our Iowa State family, their seats was way up, so you couldn't even see them, So I think Kansas was a hostile environment, and you had to make every right play. I feel like the refs was kind of on their side too, a lot of the games. But other than that, I think that was my toughest place to play.
Kansas is a lot of people's toughest place to play at. I mean, I remember, running out at Kansas, and this is when I had lost all that weight. And I had like those dry fit tank tops on, and I was like, I lost like 20 pounds over the summer. I was showing off, and some dude was in the stands swinging like a sports bra. He said, "Niang, you need this thing?" And I was like, "Oh man, I wanted to run so far back in the locker room and put a T-shirt back on." Kansas is tough though. You know what I mean? Like I said when we were playing, that's all we got. Because realistically, everybody's piled on top of you. It's bleacher seating. They could have sold 18,000 tickets, but 19,000 people are in there. It's like they seem to find a way to pack everybody in there. Because when you run out of the tunnel and nobody's in the stands, you're like, oh, this ain't that bad. And then when you run out, it looks just like a sea of people that goes on forever. And that's a special place. Obviously, a Hilton's a special place. But there's two places that are like kind of like undervalued, right? West Virginia, when there's not like a snow problem or anything like that. Their fan section is pretty crazy. And do you remember Texas A&M when they started doing the rock
that was crazy.
Back and forth? I thought the whole stadium was shaking when we were there. So I would have to go with one of those two. Kansas was a tough place to play at, but West Virginia and Texas A&M were those were pretty tough places to play at. Obviously you have passionate fans in the NBA and fans that are dedicated to their team, diehard Nuggets fan, diehard Jazz fans. They're just as wild, but they're not the same, right? Like in college, behind every hoop, there's usually a fan section, or behind one sideline, there's a fan section. In the NBA, it's kind of like generally who can produce like the most noise throughout like the whole stadium, whether it's LA where Rihanna walks in and you're distracted, and there's Celebrity Row in the Lakers or Clippers game and you're distracted. What place in the NBA is like where you walk in like, dang, I really got to be focused because, these fans bring it, and then this team feeds off that energy, and it's going to be tough, so I really got to lock in.
My first pick, I had to go with Boston. Boston was a crazy, crazy atmosphere. You can tell they know every guy on the roster. You can tell they support their whole team. You can tell it's tradition. They've been winning a long time over there, had a lot of success for a very long time, so they fans bring it. I went to the restaurant, the pasta restaurant, when I asked where should I go in Boston when you gave me the idea. And it was phenomenal. I seen a lot of Boston fans in there, Boston gear and everything, and they were excited about the game. And that was the next night. So you don't get that in a lot of cities. And I think my second one would be Utah. You guys stadium reminds me kind of like a Kansas because everything goes up. You know, it goes straight up to the top. You know, it seemed like they're on top of you. And y'all got some diehard fans over there, like some really, really diehard fans in Utah that gave you, you know, your nickname the minivan. You know, a lot of teams don't give guys nicknames and shirts and things like that. So, you know, to have that is big.
I couldn't agree more with you, man. I mean, I love our fans, obviously. And then me being a Boston kid, you know, the tradition in Boston runs deep, man. You know, I remember seeing stories, you know, when Walter McCarty was on the team with the Boston Celtics, and I'd be at a game, and they'd be like, "Put in Walter! I love Walter!" with their big Boston accents. And those people are just passionate, man. And that's all you can ask in professional sports. We understand there's 82 games. It's a long season, and it's hard to just be invested for night in and night out. For us, it gets tiring. So I understand what it's like for fans. But, bro, nothing tops what I saw in Oklahoma City, man. It is loud in there. You talk about thunder, lightning, noise, and those people are just so passionate about what they're watching because it's the only show in town. Monte, you know how it is when we were in college, when you're the only show in town, people are like, hey, my granddad was having season tickets since he was 14 years old, and now he's 75.
Yep.
You guys got to carry the torch. And when people only have you to support, you find out how loud and crazy they really are about you.
You know, a lot of times we was playing in college, there was so many stories, you know, that they were, like you said, my granddad been here for 50, 60 years, you know, watching games. You know, we don't know behind that. We wasn't around watching when he was actually loyal and started the tradition, you know. So now when we playing for him, it means so much to him, you know, and to most fans. And my mom always told me, like, since I was at Iowa State and NBA, it's like, it's always somebody first time watching you play. And then when you really sit back, you like, damn, we get, 17, 18,000 in Hilton. The same 17, 18,000 not coming every single game. And I sat back and thought about it. She said, you got one chance to make an impact on someone. So, you know, it meant a lot. That little game we have, when you blew a kiss in the fans to them in Iowa, like, that was somebody's first time, and that's their impression. Like, you know, that goes a long way, and it sticks with people. And I think that's big for the league and also college.
We have debated the toughest places to play in college. Now we're moving on to this unique draft process where prospects are going to be evaluated by scouts and teams virtually. No workouts, just video interviews. To be honest with you, by not living by the code of bringing it every day, you kind of screwed yourself with this new draft process. There's no going in against a Monte Morris if I'm a backup point guard during the draft process and being like, you know what, I'm going to run at him because I'm going to show people that I'm here to play. There's no more of that. Your body of work had to have already been put together, and that's going to be a shame for some guys that are tweeners because you're either going to have to go overseas and prove it or do it in the G League.
You got to have your body of work done already, and most guys is banking on a combine, getting that invite, Portsmouth, and getting a chance to get up against those prospects that get ranks higher than them. But you know how this world works. Sometimes everything ain't gonna go the way you want it and go fair. And this coronavirus, you know, stepped in and made it tough, not just on guys trying to get an NBA, but guys in the NBA like us. So I think that's just gonna show kids in this draft that, you know, once you start the NBA, it can be over that quick. So don't take nothing for granted.
You know, guys are going to have to show responsibility. So when a team is expecting to have a phone call with you and you can't get there on time or you're not waiting to talk to them, they're going to think, well, if this kid can't get, you know, virtually connected, then how the heck am I supposed to trust him that he's going to get to practice on time after I give him all this money? Now let's take this for granted, right? The pre-draft process, They pay for your flight. They're making your checking in on time. You're getting picked up. So you can't really show your true colors, whether if you're late all the time or don't have responsibility, because they're there, you know what I mean, picking you up. Now, if it's just you and a phone call and you're not taking the phone call or there's noises in the background, how is the NBA team supposed to trust you?
In the NBA, it's only 60 players getting selected. So I know when I was going through the pre-draft, my agent just told me, do things you're good at, but like once you get around these people in meetings and you actually sit down and talk to them, be on time, talk with respect. And it's a slim line. So if you go on Skype with a kid and there's noises in the back, like you said, they're going to question your surroundings. It's just the little things. They waiting to put an X on you so they can go get somebody else, because you can be on a board, but there's other players right under you or above you, and they just waiting to X you off.
Before, you would say the draft process probably was more lenient or helpful towards younger guys that had gone to college, 1, 2 years. But now it's kind of leaning towards the 4-year guy, because you're going to show your responsibility. You're going to be more mature. You're going to be well-spoken. You're going to know how to talk. And you have 4 years of film. You have 4 years of showing improvement. Mm-hmm. If I'm a freshman and I didn't shoot the ball well, and that's my knock, I can't go into a workout and show you that I've been working on my jump shot and have that help me slide into the first round if I'm a second-round pick. That's just not possible in this year's draft. And that's going to affect someone's future, some in a negative way, and some of those 4-year guys, more mature guys, more well-spoken guys are going to be better off.
It's 30 NBA teams. If it's a guy who's been there 3-4 years, that's a natural 3 or a natural 2, and you got a guy who's a tweener, a 1 and 2, who didn't have a great year, but he got the long athletic ability and things like that. I see in this day and age with the coronavirus, everything going on, they're going to take the natural 3 or a natural 2 they think that got the body of work already made up. They can come in and help right away instead of taking your chance on a tweener that you haven't even seen in private workouts.
It's tough, man. I feel for all the guys that are having to go through this. Your college season was canceled, your pre-draft process, a chance for you to get better and know what you're going to need to do to be at that level and know how hard you're going to have to train. It's tough because all of that is pushed back. And now when you go to your team and there's there's off-season training and workouts, that's when you're going to learn how hard you have to work, and that's going to put guys behind the 8 ball. Who are you rolling with as, the best coach out in college right now?
Say if I went with Calipari, I'm looking at myself as a 5-star, one year and done guy. If I'm leaning towards the Bill Selfs or the Izzos, I know I'm a system guy. I know I got a chance to play in the NBA. My top 5, I would go with Bill Self at Kansas. He done drew up a lot of stuff, out of timeouts after we went on runs. And we like, damn, he always draw up something good. Tom Izzo at number 2, Calipari at 3, Coach K at 4, and then I'll probably have to go with I like Juwan Howard. He don't have no big line or resume yet as far as coaching, but I like his makeup and what he's doing and his energy on the sideline at Michigan.
It's almost fitting that you would pick a Michigan guy in your top 5 coaches, huh? He just had to toss him in there. No, I think that's a strong top 5. I mean, Bill Self, the best thing about Bill Self is he just is so passionate and wants to win just as bad as anybody else, and then finds a way to motivate his guys to want it just as bad as him. And that's how he just demands excellence. Like, you can come in as a 5-star recruit and he doesn't care. He's thinking, you're going to work hard and you're going to do it my way because I've done this successfully for a long time. Same thing with Tom Izzo. When you have guys that are just riled up, fired up, you just want to do everything at another level. And I was going to say Tom Izzo or Bill Self in mine, but when you were talking about it, we can't forget about Mark Few, man. What he's done up at Gonzaga is amazing. I don't care if he's playing in the WCC, this, that, and the other. To lose only 1 or 2 games in 4 or 5 years and constantly bring in transfers and 4-year guys and make it all work in Spokane, Washington. Come on now. I mean, the guys must have solid recruiting. He knows how to coach.
Yeah.
He knows how to win. Out of all the 5 that you listed, though, I think it was Bill Self, Izzo, Coach K, Coach Calipari, and Juwan Howard. Who are you lacing them up for, Monte? Give me the rundown, brother. And it can't just be because Juwan Howard's from Michigan. I need more reason than that.
I'm gonna go to Duke, Coach K. I just see the success he done had with 4-year guys. You know, you look at a guy like Quinn Cook, a guy who wasn't really high. He was a tweener, and he got to the league. He always craved away. You know, he always been on a good championship team. And I feel like that's the Duke demeanor. You know, he found his role, and once he got his opportunity in the finals, he made some big shots. I think Coach K coaches and teaches a championship mentality on and off the court and demand excellence and wants you to be great. So I'm gonna have to take that Duke offer.
The reason I feel that all those coaches that you listed are successful is because they don't care who they're coaching, who they're coaching with, who they're coaching against. They have a standard that they're going to live up to day in and day out, and they don't ever waver from that. And I think that's why Juwan Howard's going to have longevity coaching. That's why Coach K has had longevity. Coach Cal, Coach Izzo, Coach Self, is because they have a standard of morals and expectations that if you don't meet, you're not going to make it at this school. So don't even bother trying to come. And I think that's what makes them successful. It's tough for me because I love the passion and excitement and accountability that Self and Izzo play for. I'm sure the guys that play for them will be like, it'll drive you nuts sometimes. But, you know, they just want to win so bad. Like, I remember beating Bill Self, right? It was a Big 12 tournament. We beat them in the semifinals to move on to the finals. I think it was my sophomore year. Your freshman year. And we're in the elevator. We stay at the same elevator. And I get in, and someone's like, hey, can you hold the elevator? And I hold it, and it's just me and him in there. And it was after I cut my eye, right? So I had the stitches and the Band-Aid over it. And Bill Self walks in. He said, man, what I wouldn't do to punch you in that other eye. And I was like, I mean, it was funny, and I thought it was really cool. But he was serious, you know what I mean? Like, he really wants to win. Like, they had won the conference regular season title for like 12 years in a row. But he still wanted to come down to Kansas City and win. And when you're playing for guys that want to win, everything that they do in their life involves winning, and they turn you into a winner. And that's what I like the most about them. So I guess I'm gonna choose Bill Self. I love Tom Izzo, great guy, gets the most out of everybody. 1 through 12, he gets the most out of everybody. And I just love that, man. I love the passion that those coaches show. But I'm gonna as bad as it hurts to say I'm gonna go to a Big 12 school, I'll lace him up for Bill Self any day. Obviously, every episode we go over guys, you know, where we kind of nitpick their game and how we think they're going to translate. And I know we've talked about this guy before because, you know, he's a Michigan guy, and you Michigan guys look after each other. But I love Cassius Winston. I've told you this before. I think he resembles what is great about 4-year guys. What is great about guys that buy into a system, that max out their athleticism, but are just so smart and find ways to win.
It's funny, we was on Instagram Live. It was actually Derek Walton's live, and we was just talking about basketball talk, and everybody was on there. Who y'all taking, Cassius or Monte? And me and him went back and forth like, man, I'll bust your ass and all this. You know, we went at it like that. But we knew it was all love. But to me, Cassius was a guy who developed every single year, you know, playing with Tum Tum. He was coming off the bench with Tum Tum, but he ended up finding his niche, and Izzo trusted him, and he took over that team going forward and been a winner. You know, his numbers probably down probably by 1.5 since last year, averaging 18.6 now, 6 assists, 43 from 3, you know, with the line moved back some. I think that's big for me. And I tell him all the time, one of his biggest traits he got that scouts, I'm sure, fall in love with, no matter who's he played with, he's always been a winner. And, you know, scouts call your elementary teachers. Like, they don't just look at your body of work in college. They see what type of person you was way back. And if you was a leader on the court, most likely you've been a leader in the classroom and things like that. And also, I think the knock on him, people say, is his explosiveness, which I'm sure he knows. But when you smart, you know, example for you, you're not going to the rim just throwing it down on guys, but you always found the way to create angles. You know, you playing against a shot blocker, you know how to do it because you're smart. And I feel like Cassius got that same smartness and willingness to figure it out, and I'm sure he will.
I mean, he's gone up against the best talent. He's played in NCAA tournament games, and he continues to win. So when are you going to stop saying he's too small, he can't shoot it well enough, he can't do this, he can't do that? The guy goes into battle. It doesn't matter who he's with. He's making all of his guys better. He's making all of his guys better, which leads me, you know, to the next person, Tyrese Maxey, you know, who's a freshman, highly touted, you know, 5-star recruit, is thrown together with a bunch of other talented guys. Is it harder to play with more talent and find your numbers and win than it is to be the guy and help everybody else get better? Tyrese Maxey was great for Kentucky. Mainly, he was the guy. You know, he averaged 14 points, shot 42% from the field, and, you know, 30% from 3. As a point guard, he had 3 assists, 2 turnovers. Like I talked to you last time about this on the last episode, Monte, just having a feel and a sense of pace, something that Cassius has that I'm not sure Tyrese Maxey has or just hasn't had enough time to show it. But like when you're coming down the court, how am I going to get this guy involved? How am I going to get that guy involved? Because that attributes to winning over 82 games, and people need to know how to have that feel, which is where four-year guys have that feel, and first-year guys, you know, or one-and-done guys don't really, because they're thinking about, man, I'm going to come off and I'm going to get buckets.
I think his best game was when John Wall was there, you know, in the Garden for the Classic where, you know, Kentucky, Kansas, Michigan State, and Duke participated in. I think he was the best player at the tournament. I think he played really well. That's a game that stood out to me, one, because we had time to watch it because our season, but secondly, as you watch it, I just seen the way he was scoring. You know, he's talented, athletic, quick, just like most Kentucky guards who go there, you know, 5 stars. They got all that. But it's few that really kind of stick in the league as far as being a top-ranked still in the league. You know, it's a few of them out there from Kentucky that still planned out. But a guy like him going forward, like you said, 3.2 assists, but you got 2 turnovers. Once you get to the league, you know, he may be a backup, you know, depending on the situation. So backups, I know if I come in the game and I turn the ball over 2-3 times, you never got to be flawless. Coach looking at me like, Jamal, go get him. You know, your window real slim. So a coach's best thing, you know, and something Coach Malone and every coach that really done coached me, you know, they cherish possessions. You know, guys, the more possessions you get, the more, you know, your team and other players can contribute. You know, we were in college, all 5 of us was in double figures. That's because we had a lot of possessions, you know, for guys to score the ball. So in the NBA, for him, if he can come out and figure out when to score on a pass, because he already got gifted with speed and everything, I think that's going to help him, and he's just a tremendous talent. So,
thanks for joining me again for episode 4 on Campus Lore Live, where NBA players talk college basketball. I appreciate you, my good man.
Appreciate you too, my guy. Stay in there. Keep working, baby.